Hello, 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 and welcome back for more interesting ventures into our our Klayble, our very own. Today is 12:27. Now it's 12:28 because it just hit 12 a.m. Nice, but it's never too late to get progress done. So today, my main goal, because it's the one thing that is keeping me from advancing truly and actually being able to push a demo after this step, is a UI, and then creating example people, and then more fun stuff. So whatchamacallit, this is the mountain I need to climb now. So the BattlePiece abstraction, as per Jeff's suggestions, he was saying I don't really make use. I had my first code review, and I sort of, I don't mean to say like take it to heart. Of course I take it to heart, I guess, in terms of like learning his style, learning member variables, like with the M underscore, what is it called? I haven't talked programming in so long, it feels. In that style. I believe that's like Hungarian style now. But yeah, I've taken the style to heart, consistency in my data types, like using vector2 ints instead of vector2s just because they're easier to manage. Yeah, just a lot of cosmetic stuff, renaming scripts better. I'm learning more and more. So this is going to be a huge step for me once I get this down to continue my thing. Not sure if that's what my point was about, but we'll see. We'll see. Did I just... Okay, thank God. Anyways, so yes, my old BattlePiece abstraction, as per Jeff's notes, I'll cite it here, said, yeah, aside from all the cosmetic refactor stuff, a few higher level design things that stood out were a lot of duplication between classes. Several classes had an HP attack defense fields and more. Also, you have many layers of abstraction, but within those abstractions, no abstract methods or properties are used, which questions whether they should really be abstract. Inheritance is great, but it can become a rabbit hole. Look for opportunities where a component-based approach might suit better. Then you create an example like a stats class that is very serializable. Yeah. Makes complete sense. Think like this: my card has stats, not my card is stats, which makes a lot of sense as per my old design, which I still have up. Let's see here. So yeah, in a battle avatar, which I meant to represent as a character on the field, so like cards, deck masters, or other fellows, I have all their stats listed here in their elemental type, but they're just a stats container at the moment. They don't have any methods, you know? And because they are sort of containers for yeah, so what I have here is like the system in Pokemon in terms of doing stuff like that. So let me just look up like Pokemon and battle, because I don't know what that was about. I hope I don't get copyright claimed for this or something. But I'll never do these videos for profit, at least for this development. Because I'm not really teaching anything. I'm learning and developing, and I guess that's teaching in its own way. Screenshot. So, yeah, what we have here is good battle UI. We have our little battle model, which would be in our case on the field. Only mine is 3D, and theirs is 2D. We have the option to fight and do things like that, which is cool because Pokemon, with Pokemon, it makes it easier because these guys can only fight each other with certain moves. But however, there's something I'm trying to do here with my Klayble that is having certain things on the field that we can attack. Like, I'm trying to find a screenshot with like walls or anything. Yeah, like these models over here that we can attack. You can move to the tiles, and I guess it's just a thing of the tiles not being movable. Oh my. But you can still interact with... That solves a lot of my problems, actually. So the thing is, you just can't move on these tiles. You can't move to these tiles, and they won't present any option if you did. The thing is, so my problem was creating effective representations of avatars of cards, deck masters, and chests, presumably, and other items. I wanted to add some cool on-field guys that were interactable onto my field. And I think I just solved it. I think I know it now, and I've got to write it down. So I was going to go with an enumerated battle class for an enumeration, but let's do a proposed solution 1. And I gotta write this really quick because I'm hot on the topic now. So we have battle interactable. So the way I want this all to work is like to create turns, and whatchamacallit, the way my game works is for each card in your deck, well, if you start with your deck master's turn, and then you spawn certain cards, a number of cards on the field. Then as you continue throughout the game, the flow of gameplay is that your deck master gets the first turn, and then it goes in the order of cards that you have on the field. So whatchamacallit, just according to the ones that are listed in your deck. There probably won't be anything more sophisticated than that. I won't sort them by speed. If I could if I would, though. Or I might, and I can. We'll put it like that. So my thing with that is, where was I going with that? Yeah, those are the representations of the classes of data. So I have data elsewhere. Let's bust it out. So this is going to be my data, and I'm going to have a SO for scriptable object. So this is a scriptable object that represents data. Let's call it card data. So as we battle, yay. As we enter a battle sequence, then this is loaded into an object that will represent this data on the field, which will have a model and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So basically it's like a character on the field. And this is technically a battle piece. And a battle piece refers to anything that is on the field that is worthy of abstraction, or not worthy of abstraction, worthy of interactiveness. But really, now that I've thought about it more, I can have cosmetic tiles, like tiles without tile scripts, and that just makes sense. It just makes sense. I can't believe I was so foolish. How could I have missed something like that? But that's not important. What matters is I have the idea now. So, in a battle, at least in terms of a Fire Emblem type battle, I guess you could say what matters most is what is and is not interactable. If something is interactable, Perhaps it's not as easy as I thought. So things are either... What I want to happen is kind of like Fire Emblem again. I want to pull up a menu of a couple things that you can do if you select something on the field. So the first option I would prefer is like, can I attack it? Which you probably almost always can. Can I interact with it? And attack and interact are sort of... they're sort of... what is the term? I don't think mutually exclusive is what I'm looking for. Exclusive. That cannot coincide. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So there can be no correlation between them. So yeah, they're sort of almost mutually exclusive, although if I wanted to play with the idea, well, I just shouldn't. So what matters is we have a guy on the field. He's our card between you and me. Let's see. And we're on a little tile grid. And maybe on the next square over is an enemy guy with little horns. And maybe he's got little wings too. He's almost bug-like. So I'll add a little moth antennas to him. But now he kind of looks like a weird flying deer. Anyway. So this is our card. This is he. That's all. So if I were to select he, what would I want the options to pop up? I would have... I'm thinking from like the most... trying to think from a very abstract frame of mind, because he is either interactable or attackable. Thus, he's either one of two classes. And I'm trying to think ahead like so far. And I know I shouldn't, because I have to get past where I am right now. But perhaps if it's either attack or interact, then we have a field for a reward. So that's something that we'd need if they're interactable. Perhaps reward or spoils. Maybe they trigger a sequence. Which will have to be something that we define anyway, like a dialogue sequence. And yeah, if they're interactable, it either rewards or spoils, triggers a sequence, and we'll take this away and just make it like dialogue or cutscene. So dialogue is kind of like a char, cutscene maybe is like a ballista or a catapult, or a trebuchet firing upon some fool. Ballista firing on fool. So this is potential interactions, and yeah, that's just something. It'll become less cut and dry when I actually have to program that, because I'm thinking of like specific interactions that certain things have and whether or not they disappear after. But that's all controllable. I'll think about that at a later time. In fact, there might be a way that I won't entertain that right now. I shouldn't. So, if something can be interacted with, then this is what it should contain. If something can be attacked, then it has to contain a stats class. It has to have that's not just it, is it? So I'm thinking that anything that matters on the field is something that is interactable or that is attackable. The stats class is definitely in order. So I'm going to make a stats class. Yeah, BattlePiece scripts. Yeah. Battle script. This is a high level. Well, it's only relevant to battle pieces. So we'll, no, it's higher level than that. Because, so in my mind, I had a bunch of, in my scriptable objects, I had example card data. And this all gets abstracted to, what was I gonna say? So this is something that should be in a stats class. Card data. So cards, battle cards on the field represent, yes. Okay. So this system is fairly abstract in my mind. I'm thinking about more down the road of more specific applications of interactions and cutscenes. Maybe you interact with somebody and they say one thing, they give you one thing, you interact with them at another time, and maybe it's conditional. So like if you've defeated Gonzalo, wielder of the first French fry, if you've killed that guy, then maybe he's like, hey, you got Gonzalo, you can have this plastic fork in return. And then you get a plastic fork, as opposed to the other dialogue options if he's still alive, which is like, go get Gonzalo, and then I'll give you this legendary spork. But, I might sneeze. So, clearly the first option, or the first step toward this solution, is creating a stats class. And I may have to rethink a few things. So, stats should be a scriptable object. That's for sure. In fact, yes, it simply must be. Okay. Perhaps that name is too vague. I should do battle stats data. Battle stats data, it sounds much better. Because stats data, I was thinking about it, moves technically have, move stats are embedded within them. That's what makes a move. So a move is stats with an animation trigger, I guess, like a specific ID. Like move data consists of an elemental type and base damage. And later on, as I implement animations, I'll probably have to put an ID for the animation or something like that. But stats data, we're going to have to change that to battle stats data. And let's take a look at that. Oops, and I don't think oh my, started the GitHub desktop yet. Okay, we'll need this guy. BattleStats data seems like too long a name, though. And the issue with that is that I want a name that is specific and just easy enough to get, you know, on your own. Which is why I would call it stat data or stats data. Whoop. But there's it's just hard. Let's see, and oh yes, I don't think I did a video recently where I said about doing small commits, prioritizing small commits over larger git commits, but that's what I'm trying to do now, to get a better workflow going, so that changes are more easily revertible without having to copy and paste too much code from a future commit. Anyways, so battle stats data. Now let's look at my card data. This is all... Oh, and defense isn't going to be a thing, I think. So we'll just take that out. So these are all things a card takes care of. Well, stats. Stats doesn't include a level. Stats is hit points, attack, defense. Let's ride on the shoulder of giants, as they say. So, stats to Pokemon are their type, total HP, attack, blah 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 blah. And what did I say not? So, card name is the least important field in terms of statistics. What I need is all of this, and oh, card ID as well. That can go. So we have this, that, and the card name. I'm just gonna tighten these guys up really quick. Let's paste these guys over here. So we have level, weight, no. Level, I knew level wasn't something that's in stats, but I copied it anyway because I was nervous. So we have the card ID, the card name, and I would argue that level is least important out of all those. So, well, actually not. Never mind. They're all strangely relevant in their own ways. So we have HP as they say. Next we'll create private int, oh wait, no. It was, I believe I have to be using, because I named it BattlePiece system, and I'm going to do, what is the enumeration I have for my elementals? Yes. Private elementals and element. And we'll create our public backing field. Do get equals returning our m element. Private set is m elements equals value. Nice. Okay. At this point, I should commit and review my changes. So planning. Okay. You're thinking BP abstraction. Again, implementing stats. Thinking abstraction. Implementing stats. More planning complete. Or more planning in progress. That violates a comma rule, I believe. Dromedary camel, and we will be on our way. Push that bad boy and get on with our day. So now a stat for a card is we have this, and then we need to have our final field for this is stats. So private battle stats data slash m underscore. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to write again, but it'll be okay. Public battle stats data. Oops, there you go. Sets data, private sets is m underscore battle stats data equals value. There we go. So now we have a battle stats data hooked up to our card data. And in the editor, that'll change a few things because, oops. And that is unimplemented because there is no defensive stats thus far. So, oh, interesting. Well, this will be going soon, so I won't have to worry about that. Yeah, that was an instance of the battle card abstraction failing me, or giving me a problem at least very quickly. We're gonna get out of Zen mode, go here, and finally, so now we have our stats class, battle stats data, and it is a scriptable object. Every guy should have them with their card data. So we access their, okay, that makes sense. Perhaps we should just implement them separately. So, to me, it doesn't make sense because a deck master isn't going to have card data. And if a deck master doesn't have card data, then he kind of gets shafted here, because then he doesn't get battle stats data. That's all I have implemented just in that. So, he'll have his own battle stats data. Well, see, that's just hard. I've also become kind of attached to the name despite it being so long, battle stats data. It rolls off the tongue in the strangest way. But anyway. If I implement them separately, then that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't want to tie one to the other. So what I want is, let's get some clean space here. So when I have like a battle, I don't know what to call them. Battle attacker. So if I have like a battle attacker Zachary over here, he most certainly has some form of class-based data, and he definitely has stats or battle as data. Battle stats data. That is god awful. Wow. And I don't want to tie one to another because it could be card data. It could be deck master data. It could be either of those. But either way, it needs to have battle stats data, no matter what. So, ooh. See, my thing is, like, when I instantiate a new one, or a new, say you get a new card, and it's like, it just represents the base one, like someone gives you a card, it'll come with the base stats of that card's card type. That'll be a scriptable object. So I'll have to create a, what's the term? A deep copy of that data, and because I don't want to mess with the scriptable object at all, because that's important. But it means that I'm serializing more, and I guess I'm serializing the same amount, actually. Yeah, because they're both two different scriptable objects, but and I'm serializing the same amount of information. What matters is how I link them. So is it sensical to say that my battle attacker is going to have a few different things? He's probably going to have the tile that he's on. He's probably going to have he's gonna have his data, so his blank data, and I guess since each is their own individual instance of that, it is a tough nut to crack. I have to think more. Yes, I should keep them separate. I'm gonna keep them separate. Because I'm thinking in card data, cards have a name, a ID, probably a link to their model, other things like that. The deckmaster has its link to its own model, but it also won't have an ID. It'll have a name of its own, like a specific thing like that, and probably different things than a card does. So I will implement them separately. I don't need to have them together. So it's gonna throw me another error in the editor, because it's going to be like, hey, the system that you're about to delete is being a little strange, you know? And man, I hate to see it go, but at the same time, I am pleased, because it means that I'm making an improvement. One of these has to be an enumeration, right? No? Well, that figures as to why I failed there. Goodbye. And perhaps I'm not using my description space for the greatest use. So let's come up with a new name, because BattlePiece is sufficient, basic, but what I need is something more descriptive. Chessmen. Because everything on the field is technically a piece. That's a big part of the abstraction. If it isn't broke, I won't fix it. So we'll create a BattlePiece scripts folder again. And there's a lot of errors here, but I will not. My will is unyielding. Scripts, battle scripts, BattlePiece scripts, and finally we'll create our first script, BattlePiece. Apologize if I got a little too close there, if you've heard too much breath, but that's how it is. BattlePiece system, because I believe that's what I've had to put elsewhere. I don't know why I pinned that guy, but whatever. So a BattlePiece again is going to be an abstract class. So what does a BattlePiece have that other things don't? So it's going to have an abstract, well, technically that's just going to be protected vector2 board position. So this represents its position on the board. I'm going to use a vector2 int because that's what I've done before. Protected, and I'm going to use my Hungarian thingy just like that. So protected. Then we're going to have its forward field, but wait, I have to make it serializable, as with all the other stacks in my old thing. So let's just look at my old code on the on my repository. So let's go back to this point. Let me see the project at this point. And in it, I want to look at what I did that was relevant to my friends here. BattlePiece, there it is. So yes, these are attachable to mono behavior. And I just did the tile map position. Okay, that makes sense. And I was mostly looking to see this little 3-stack structure. Okay, vector2 int board position get returns m.board position private set. Use the, what is that called? The fat arrow? Isn't it? I think that's what I heard it is. And board position equals a value. Okay, so that's our first little 3-stack there. And our second is going to be, so no matter what it's going to be, that's not necessarily always true. Let's give it a name field as well. That's important no matter what. Oh, whoopsie. Yeah. Like string name get equals m.name, but I didn't actually call it that, so I'll get to that in a second. On the bright side, I spent today and yesterday just watching JoJo. It was what was I gonna say? The last one with Giorno. Golden Wind something, I think. That was fun. That was good. That was good. I finished it today and I started it yesterday, so it must have been pretty good, huh? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is make a BattlePiece. I'm going to continue in my script here by creating. I definitely need a battle interactable, perhaps? I think it's more helpful at this point to create individual types for what I'm looking for. I need battle cards. I need battle deck masters. And that'll involve duplication, because they'll both have battle stats data, but they'll have different types of their individual data. Let's look back at my scriptable objects. Whoopsie. I suppose I didn't mean for this guy to be around here. Go. And let's look at what we have for deckmaster data. So you have card data. I forgot to edit him. So he has a deckmaster ID and a level. I believe he kept the level. Yes, as part of the cards data. It has an ID, name, and level. Deck name? I don't think that's... Oh wait, never mind. These come with a name field no matter what. We'll see about if the name field is relevant. Let's write a note about that, actually, to do. Check if... Oopsie, my chair seems to have something to say too. Check if name field is relevant, being that scriptable object has a name field already. Yep, so we'll do that. Deckmaster datas will also have names because they represent specific deckmasters. So a name is not in order here. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take the name out of the other one as well. So all that makes a card special is its card ID and its level. All that makes a deckmaster special is its deckmaster ID, which should be different than a card ID and its level. As well, it will have a stats of its own, and that has to be implemented separately, of course. See, the thing is, elementals... A deckmaster could have an elemental. That might be cool, actually. Yeah, we'll keep that. Let's see. Serialized field, private list. So this is the deck. We don't need defense anymore. And come to think of it, these following fields are going to be implemented separately. Thus, the final fields that we need are its ID, its level, and its deck. After this, yes. Okay. I don't know how to describe these changes. Let's look at them again. So I got rid of... Okay, I'll just tidying up scriptable objects, removing redundant fields in the wake of the stats class and the name fields, being that all objects have names. Okay. More. Let's do more. Battle pieces have this and that. Let's create console. Hasn't thrown me an error yet, so that's good. So I think We need deck master data. Wait, we already have deck master data. What we need is a deck master controller. See, this is the problem. This is actually the problem. Hold up. Let's do battle deck master first. Because a battle deck master refers to a representation of a deck master in the battle system, and that can't possibly be all the namespaces I've come up with in here. I just don't believe that. But whatever. Public class battle deck master, and I haven't been documenting my code as well as I should be, so I'll change that in a bit. But for now, I have to get this point across, because if not, I'll forget. So, a battle deck master has a deck master data and a separate stats data, but that stats data is going to be held elsewhere as a scriptable object, which is... That's actually okay. That's okay. I had a big anxiety for a second because I was really worried that I'd have messed something up in my thought process here. And that's entirely possible. I prepared for such a thing. So what we're going to do is have a private deck master data / DM data, have a public. Nobody needs to see this but us. But, well, people should be able to see it, but they shouldn't be able to edit it. DM data get, whoops. DM data private set is going to be m / DM data equals value. Okay, there's our first 3 stack. So it has its first deck master data. Now it needs its data, or its battle stats data. Wait, I believe elsewhere I had implemented a full battle stats data. It almost pains me to not commit to writing the whole thing out, just so you can read my stats. Okay, reasonable so far. So our battle deck master, let's just go in the scope of the method really quick. Oops, and it seems I forgot to make this inherit from mono behavior. So now, let me say that with a little more gusto. There we go. So on awake, let's check if this has a name. Well, I guess that refers just to the name of the class. Let's do this dot, what was it? Board position. Okay, yep, our abstraction is working properly. So everything on the field has to have a location and a name, which is fair. Let's call it piece name. That's not descriptive enough. I think calling it name will just get me confused with the scriptable value or the scriptable object field. So there's our battle deck master, and it is a container sort of for our deck master's data and our battle stats data. And to me, so now you'll see why I'm debating this, if the deck master data should include a battle stats data or not. And my thing was, when I did that one thingy in battle card a minute ago or a few minutes ago, I had to call dot deckmaster data dot battle stats data dot the stat I wanted, and that was that annoyed me for a second, but I realized that that might be exactly what I need. I'm almost tempted to make battle stats data a struct inside of my or a public struct, and then create an instance of it. Never mind, no, a struct wouldn't work at all, because there's no class is better than a struct for that, because the type is more relevant to me to duplicate a bunch of them and mess around and have fun stuff like that. So what we're going to do here is, where is it? I'll find it in the Solution Explorer instead, because that's probably better. So we have our battle stats data here. These guys are going to come with their own battle stats data, and that's going to be important. Go, we change that. BattlePiece back where we were. We aren't going to have this because we're already, wait, hold on. Battle Deck Master is what I'm looking for. Yes. Let's do awake. This .dm data .battle stats data. So that's better. That's better. Whew, much less of an eyesore now. Okay. So again, as we said, the theme of tonight was attack versus interact. And perhaps I'll have to implement more cool methods and to do with things, like when you have the green talk option with certain NPCs and Fire Emblem and stuff like that. I'll have to create something, some other, but this system is abstract enough for my current needs. So Battle Deck Master is going to hold, let's see, I'm gonna write it to do. Should hold model reference. Yes, and because he inherits from BattlePiece, he gets our board position and our piece name. What we're going to do is, the stats don't need a name. Now here's a new issue that I foresee with all my fortune-telling might. So, obviously, like I said, we have the scriptable object data elsewhere that is loaded into our battle fella card instance. So this guy just holds the data, and perhaps I need to hold more specific data, like hit points. Stressing about max hit points because okay, we'll leave it like that, because I'm thinking that also Battle Deck Masters. See, here's where I fall into my abstraction trap again, because something that's interactable doesn't have HP. Deck Masters and cards are going to have a relevant HP field to mutate in here, in the battle thingy. And that shouldn't change their scriptable object data. The scriptable object data just has like their ID, their level, things that don't change until the end of a battle, generally. But okay, perhaps I'm not being clear enough on what the problem is. And it's been an hour. I checked and it was just 40 minutes. The video is at like 30 minutes. That's a shame. I have to go get my laundry sometime soon. But in the meantime, I'm falling back into my abstraction trap again. Because like I said, for a piece that fights, that can attack, I have a scriptable object for it that's stored and will be used throughout the game. So this guy is really, really important. Then I have his battle version, which takes those stats and loads them into a guy here. And if I do a shallow copy, I don't know. Now I'm all tied up. Sorry for the blank air. But this is, so the problem that I'm running into here is we have our battle piece, right? And the relevant fields here are a vector 2 of the position. Let's do vec2 int. We have a vector 2 and the name. Next we have to the guys who can attack, attacker, or maybe soldier. What are terms for a soldier? Battle fighter, battle servicewoman, battle trooper, that sounds too. Battle squatty, battle fighter, battle conscript. Anyway, so we have our guy, the people who can attack. Let's call him battle fighter. So these guys have temporary stats to mutate. That's my idea, is that they have a little box of temporary stats that is eventually loaded initialized with that, and mutates this based on level and stuff like that. Well, this doesn't mutate that. We increase the level field whenever we have XP, enough experience. Or something. I'll have to calculate experience, but that'll be super easy. Because there's a relevant field though, do I need data at the end of this? Battle stats data? Perhaps I just need battle stats, because that makes sense. And I know I could have searched around to do this, but I don't have a problem with it. Makes me reread more of my own code, which makes me more happy and familiar with it. Very good. We have battle stats now. So, yep, looks good. So BattlePiece, you may not go. You are free to stick around. Let's see, Battle Deck Master. We'll put this guy here. Battle Deck Master, yep. Deck Master data, which has its own component based Deck Master stats. Now, whatchamacallit? I can't declare a struct in a class. That's illegal. Structs can have a name, and this troubles me. Can I duplicate structs like classes? I must be a fool. The only value I see in structs here that are less than a class Oh, we have to. Interesting. See, I want to keep the important data where it matters. But what's the difference between this and my old system? It's almost all the same. But maybe that's good. Yes, I see. Okay. This is hard, but whatever. Let's review my changes. So, renamed battle stats. Sorting out the battle deck master. Nice. Not bad. Let's see. I can't wait to find the best design for this. It'll be very nice to me. See, the thing is that I have to make temporary... No, I don't have to make temporary stats. Because in Pokemon, that saves with you too. So, that means that I have to edit my battle stats data. Total hit points. So total hit points is going to refer to the total, well, I guess you can imagine that. We are also going to have private int m/current h points, or current hit points, which is important because it determines if your card is dead or not, or if your stat holding object is dead. That'll also, it'll grant me useful analytics such that I can tell who is dead with a lot or not. But who wants to really see that, yeah? Okay, looking at my death stat. Only if I'm bad, though. Because then if I'm good, I can flaunt it, but whatever. And because that is relevant, serialize field private int m dot is dead. Public whoopsie, int is dead. Let me out, please. Okay. Okay, so this solves a bit of my problems, and I shouldn't have to explain why, but that's kind of a cop-out answer that sort of commits. As a teacher, I'm committed to give something better than that. So this helps me a lot because my thing was like, I didn't want to change. I wanted to create a set of temporary values for each battle card on the field, and if I was able to create those values that served as a temporary container for the battle stats, like, you know how I have my scriptable object data and then the battle representation of that. Well, I have my card data, which will store my important card stats, and then I have my, whatchamacallit, battle data. So, whatchamacallit, yes, I see it now. I see my structure. So it's important because in like Pokemon, you have status effects that are saved with you when you save and reopen the game. If you have a Pikachu that has 17 out of 30 HP, it's going to have 17 out of 30 HP if you haven't healed it yet, which you totally should at Pokemon Center, by the time that you reopen the game. So these are stats that are saved. Thus, I have a total hit point, a current hit points, and finally, if it is dead. And I believe scriptable objects can use methods. I believe they can use methods. Interesting. I like this name. Interesting. Oh my. That's actually really cool. I had no idea. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Okay. Back to the fray. I think that's good progress for tonight. I spent what, an hour? An hour and 7 minutes so far working on this. That's very nice. So yes, I made very big design decisions, at least today, in terms of the architecture of my code. Yes, we have total hit points, current hit points, and now we don't have to worry about about any middleman between BattlePiece and my Battle Deck Master and Battle Card to be. Now, I was imagining that there was a middleman between them because someone has to store those temporary values, and it's easier if I... So, let me just look up the formal name of duplication so I don't misuse it. So I believe duplication is just having, yeah, okay. Oh, that makes sense. That makes complete sense, yeah. So I can avoid sort of duplication via abstraction of holding those temporary values. So now, that doesn't matter at all. Everybody who lives and has stats can be dead and have HP and stuff like that. And yeah, okay, let's see. That's very, very, very good. So I... Battle Deck Master, rethinking battle stats data again. Not everyone have. I don't need temporary values. Store them in between battles. Nice. Okay, I'll continue. Just for a little bit though. It is getting late and I want to wake up in the morning, so maybe I reward myself for tonight's progress with a, I'll do this too. With a coffee, I was saying. Because I haven't optimized, well, not optimized yet, but I haven't cleaned through my code yet. So I'll just go around and save this, and then we will commit it again. I'm going to use Jeff's cool little cosmetic brackets tag. Another commit. Nice. Yes, that should be in BattlePiece system. That should be in BattlePiece system. Nice. We'll keep that guy open for reference, and now we're going to create a new script. So we have BattlePiece, Battle Deckmaster, Battle Card. Now, this is sort of a test to see if I was paying attention to my own stuff. And the answer is, it's hard to talk and do this all at the same time. So, no guarantees, and I'm going to try and not be embarrassed if I mess up any of my systems. Oops, not model behavior, BattlePiece. Thus, we will have, yes, it is within the namespace BattlePiece system, Battle Card, and BattlePiece. And let's look at my Battle Deck Master, just because he's important. He's an important reference too. So I have a serializable private deck master data and a public. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess that'll be easy then. Serialized field. Private card data. Data and public card data. Oops, but I've forgotten. I generally worry that it's ill-advised to have a type name be the same thing as a class name, but thank goodness C#'s compiler is better than that. I feel like, I don't know why that would be a problem in Java, but I swear I remember having a problem like that. If so, it was completely my fault though, because I can imagine that being a legitimate problem I could run into. Card data equals value. Okay, so we have a reference to our card data, and we'll run CodeMate on this again. Hey, what did he change? Oh, we probably just closed up the space down there. Oh, we spaced it out. Ew. Okay. And I suppose these guys should also store a reference. So in card data should have move as well. And I don't think I've move data. Yes, open move data, please. We will drag him to the end, because I believe it is that each card only has one move. Yes. Effect or filter text. I see. Yes, so a card data definitely has to have a move, because that's what makes cards super special. Is their ability to perform different moves. Otherwise, you just optimize for the highest stat card, not even taking into account the move. Move data. Oops. And underscore move data. Public move data. Move data. Or get And one day I'll create like a macro for these or something super easy to manage typing this out. That'd be very cool. And I would very much appreciate that. So I'll separate it, and yeah. So now that's, yep, that's a thing. Maybe deck masters will attack and they'll get their own moves, but we'll see. That's a decision that is out of my scope to make, for I am not the creative director of this game. 'Tis Snappy. And while I can contribute, I'm, as you can see, I have my hands tied a bit already. Implementing card data. Dromedary Camel. I've also created a move data field. Card data SO because each card has their own move. Makes sense. Push that origin, and do I keep going? Well, I haven't made my Battle Interactable class yet. But that one's gonna require some noggining too. So we don't need a temporary box for that. Die. So if we interact with things, you might get a reward. You know what just came to me? Perhaps buffs? Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. I see. Each creature. Effects can trigger when attacking. Reeled, destroyed, and summoned. Also at the start and end of your turn. The card specifics will trigger at the end of the turn, but others only once. I see. So this will be fun event stuff. There's gonna be a lot of funny card event stuff in my future. And I frankly can and cannot wait. I cannot wait to try and figure it out. I can wait to undergo the mental struggle that it may be to figure it out. But I'm very excited to either way. Let's see, so what was I going to do? Battle Interactables it was. So when you interact with something in the battle, you either generally have a sequence and you get a buff or an item or something like that. So, I mean, I could hold off on it. But it's an interesting class, and I kind of want to get it down. Battle Interactable seems a bit too, what was I gonna say? Oh, and I forgot. I'm going to move a comment from Battle Deckmaster. More importantly, everything on the field should have a model, and I stand by this. Thus, I should add this in here, because everything will get a model by inheritance here. And that's important. That's an important part of a young man's life when he gets his model. So where was I? Yes. I think I just made my Battle Interactable. Yes. Namespace, BattlePiece system. Class, Battle Interactable extends our Battle Deckmaster. And now, I haven't created an item type yet. That kind of throws a wrench in my plans, doesn't it? I haven't created an item type. Well, what is an item? I guess it has an icon has a value in like gold or something. Maybe there's a shop in our game that we do. Is this even relevant? If items exist, if items or buffs exist, implements me. Okay. That's sort of a cop-out, but it's what I gotta do. Battle interactable. Time in mind for once. Yep. Makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to turn my back on that and ignore it for now. We don't need a battle interactable, but I will include a more thorough description of exactly what I want this to be. If items or buffs exist, implement me. Also, there will need to be an item, scriptable object, currency in the game, and more. Shop, maybe an item, scriptable object. Should consist of like an icon, gold amount, gold value, or just new value. Buff, buffs, attack, HP, level. And more. Something to make items useful and attractive during gameplay. Okay, that is more thorough. We'll do it with planning. Documentation too. Forget my good friend. Come to think of it, I hadn't documented hardly any of the classes that I did before. And this is interesting because I haven't seemed to have documented my scriptable objects as straightforward as they may be. So I'm going to do this. Okay, and the only thing that's important there is that we do that. Yep. Battle deck master. Oops. Represents a deck master. On the field, did I say? Yeah. On the battlefield. Battle interactable. represents something that is interactable on the battlefield, either a reward or a cutscene trigger. Either a reward and or okay, nice. And finally, our battle piece represents any piece on the board, any piece on the battlefield / board via abstraction. Stores position on the board and the name of the piece. Well, that's irrelevant. You can just read down and do that. Okay. Did I add anything else? I think that's fine. Adding some info. Because who doesn't like more information when working unfamiliar systems? Geometric camel. And we have 2 pushes in the queue there. Pop them in and cook them until golden brown. Very nice. Okay. Well, that went out a lot better than I thought we were going to come out. And a lot sooner, too. It only took me like an hour and a half. Although, I joke about it, but that was a big decision to make. Like, a big decision to make. Because the next step, and I'm going to start it here, I'm not going to, is to have an example card. I'm going to reset it to transform, and I'm going to create an empty within it. Card object. Well, it's better if I parent it. But I'm not sure what to call the little guy within him in his local space. I'm going to drag battle card onto him. Now, he doesn't have a name or card data. Test card. So I'm thinking, they usually say it's better to parent these guys. But I need like a model renderer. Or just a render, I guess. Billboard, line, canvas. A mesh render with, I guess it's just default material. Ew. The only thing is that I don't have any sort of, I have a mesh render, but I don't have a mesh. This, this doesn't work like this. What am I thinking? Rec mask? What's a mask? Sprite mask. I'm looking for 3D modeling things. Rendering, perhaps, let's see. Oh, a sorting group? That might be useful. In any case, a streaming controller. What the? That's actually kind of cool. If it's like an event system. 3D. I'm looking for model 3D thingies. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Mesh. A mesh filter? But I have a mesh render. Oh, I see. But if I don't have a render, he's not drawn. And if I don't have a mesh, he just doesn't exist. Very nice. And this guy is dead inside one of these guys. So I'm going to change the position local space to be 1 above the floor, on which we'll be doing that. Very good, very good. And because he's just the biggest circle in the entire world, I swear. That's actually why he might touch the other colliders if I hadn't reduced their size. So we're gonna make this guy our example and leave it on a cliffhanger. Not that it's that much of a cliffhanger. But tomorrow, as I resume development, after I maybe go for a coffee or something, that will be very, very nice. And I cannot wait to go. Let's see. Oh, oopsie. Let's see. He probably, yep, he just barely touches there. And that's because he's 0.5 below. Now these guys are 0.5 below. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's probably wrong, but you know what? It's fine. Let's hit play, because I don't think I had anything funny here. What? Whoopsie. Oh, yes, I seem to have forgotten about my canvas. It shouldn't look like that. It should look like what I saw in the game window. But then it does look like that. No, that sucks. It's because my game window is in a strange ratio here. So I'm just gonna go by this layout. This is strange, actually. 4 split? Ugh. Default? Not bad. I can't complain. What I'm looking for is when I go to the game window. Like I wanna fix my UI stuff, you know? And to do that, perhaps I drag it elsewhere. Maximize, or I kill you. Let me see. And this is my announcement panel. Please allow me to focus here. Thank you. This is what I'm looking to see. See, I would have never known that it was placed incorrectly here. So my entire announcement panel should go down -500, -700, -600, 50? It's down there, but I kind of like, we'll settle for 625. Nice. And then this guy, oopsie, this guy isn't viewable in this, but I'll add, I think it's a fun thingy to add an on mouse over to my friend. Oh, I've realized you cannot see the game window. I'm sorry. So here's what I'm looking at. I was resizing my UI, so now this looks a little more correct. Yeah, not the worst thing ever. The only thing is that once it's here, I can't see anything. There we go. So let me just maximize and play and make sure this all works correctly. And the text is going like right in the middle of it, which is completely incorrect. Exactly what I'm trying to avoid, but let me fix that. And I think it's because I changed monitor scales, and I have to see how did we do that one time, that one thing. It was something important about my UI. And, well, I'm not wasting time. If anything, taking a lot of advantage of good time here. I'm very pleased. Oh, and I'm even more pleased that, thank goodness, I have parents who really support what I do. Because they bought me tickets to PAX East this year. And that is my greatest, probably my greatest memory of my year. Last year was going to PAX. Holy jeez, it was so much fun. I spent a lot of time talking to really cool developers, looking at their games, seeing things, but I had to look with like a sort of bated breath, and I felt like guilty for looking because I didn't want to look. Well, I can't speak. I didn't want to look because I felt not jealous. I was just very. I know it's something that I can achieve reasonably soon. And it just takes nights like these to be able to make the next, like, Overcooked or something, or Undercooked, or, no, it's Overcooked, I think. Yeah, like a fun little game. That had to have been made in Unity. I don't know, though. But, like, stuff like that, the next Baba is You, more like, more really, really good stuff. So I can do that. I will be able to do that soon enough as I begin to learn my patterns and development, things like that. I'm just so excited. I can't wait. So what I wanted to do tonight was get the functionality for this little field preview UI guy. Is an on mouse over thingy, like, let's do no mouse stuff? Oh, how strange. Unity really is cool. And I've seen so little of what it can do already. I can't wait for more. Event, let's see. Event trigger. Oh my. So if I create a prefab of my example card, I'll have to create a listener class in here. But yeah, for my example card, let's do have that, then event trigger. Oh my. Okay, let's see, on pointer enter. I would like it. Okay, and then I'll set my object to my, what is he called? My field preview UI. Yep. Field preview. And he doesn't have a function yet. But what we're going to do, yeah, we'll do this tonight. It'll be fun. In my field preview UI, what I'm going to do is create a new component, and I'll actually have to create it in here. My scripts, UI scripts, is going to be my field preview controller using more standard name conventions. And I believe there are some changes that I made in the scene that I'll have to save, yes. So field, yep, that'll be in there. And I don't think this really matters because it's nothing serializable. So I'm going to write this scarily. Is shown and how do I hide a game object? Oh, I guess I have to activate it and deactivate it. Let's see. Set active, but if I set active, this will have to be a class in another thingy, because if this guy's not active, then he'll crumple, and that'll make me very sad. Also, don't know what's going on there. Okay, that fixed itself. There's some strange text happening in my game preview window. Not entirely sure what that was about. So I'll definitely need a boolean for whether it's shown or not. More importantly, I'm going to have a private game object that represents the field preview game object, and awake, because apparently awake goes before start. I will call field preview game object to be equal to game object, or no, just get component game object. That's very, very insecure. I'm gonna make it public first. See, like, this feels like bad scripting though, because I don't really go in with a plan, and then I just kind of mess around, you know? Okay, but I don't want to mount this guy on the game object. That's my thing, is like, so currently my little fella here, let's put in the event system. It's kind of strange, I'm not gonna lie. So we have our field preview UI, and by default we're gonna hide that bad boy. So shown equal true if it's shown. But we have to subscribe to some sort of event to activate it and deactivate it. So if it's shown, then we have to set field preview dot. So that's our game object dot transform. Huh? I don't get it. I just don't see the problem. Let's see. Oh, I meant field preview game object dot transform dot position, which is intriguing. Oh my. Motion.mouse? What was I looking for? Input.mouse. Input.mouse. Okay, so I have to remember how to do an event. I haven't done an event in a while. So the thing is, we're going to create on activate game object, and we're going to set this game object set active true. On deactivate game object. This feels sloppy, but if it works, I won't argue with it now. I'm doing a lot of not testing. So we're just gonna do this. There's really no advantage. I just want to return out of the function and keep like going from there. I mean, if it's not shown, then we just return. If not, though, we'll have to do this line. On wake, we do that. This is a lot. There's a lot here. Making a mess. I need help. Okay. Thank goodness. So now in our card object, we have our event triggers. So on pointer enter, now we're going to have our field preview. Use what was I gonna say? What was my class again that I had for him? It wasn't my event system. Okay, I need my event system. Yep, because my event system has a field preview controller where I do... I'll have to do public void, won't I? And these don't need to be events. They'll just be normal functions, I suppose. Activate game object, and for our event system to deactivate the game object. Let's see. But see, the thing is, on exit, Let's see. Yeah, it's giving me a problem. The problem I thought it would give me. I'm going to delete it. I don't want it. Goodbye. And I'll also have to delete my little event listener, my card object. Bye. My event system doesn't need the script anymore. Sorry, guys. It was a flop. We tried. I suppose I don't really need any fancy name for that. And we'll call it for tonight. Very pleased with the progress I've made. This rethinking the BattlePiece structure is likely very useful. Using composition for the stats class was also very, very big, so I'll have to think in terms of what things have instead of what things are, and think more literally about what objects specifically represent, which is cool and fascinating and entrancing, and what pulls me back to this all the time. So tomorrow I hope to make a video, maybe 10 a.m., 11 a.m., something, I don't know, we'll see. Sometime fun to continue this. Oh man, I won't even close it, but I will pop my game window back where it needs to be. And I heard there was good deals on the asset store. In any case, I should probably let you go. Somehow this video has grossly entered the 2-hour mark. Sorry guys, but have a good night, and I'll see ya.